I'm telling you, Elon Musk just dodged a bullet, a big bullet, by way of one Don Lemon. I think he knows it. He's actually comparing Don Lemon to this little girl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka.
Goose! Gooses! Geeses! I want my geese to lay gold eggs for Easter.
It will, sweetheart.
At least 100 a day.
Anything you say.
By the way,
What?
I want a feast.
You ate before you came to the factory.
I want a bean feast.
Okay, here we go. This is the tweet from Elon Musk, who was in these negotiations, apparently, with Don Lemon. And the verdict was Don Veruca Salt Lemon. Veruca Salt. So again, for those of you who do not know, she was a character in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and she was this greedy little girl who wanted this and this and this and this and this. And it turns out, well, Don Lemon's like a greedy little girl who wants this and this and this and this. Like, a lot. I'm looking at this list. This was reported first by the New York Post. Apparently, he wanted a Tesla Cybertruck, and he wanted a private plane to Vegas for himself and his boyfriend, and all their expenses and drinks and etc. covered in Vegas for some meeting that they were supposed to have. He also wanted $8 million plus a $5 million advance. And then I think here's the one that really got to Elon. It got to him that he wanted to somehow have appraisal over any news decisions or changes that X, the platform, would have. So that might have been what really did it. Of course, this little interview that they did together, it really didn't help. I want to show you an excerpt. I've shown you some already, but this particular clip is really quite something. He's challenging, Veruca is challenging Elon Musk on this idea that maybe you shouldn't be pushing for DEI in the medicine business, in the medical industry, because if you're more concerned about equality in medicine, then you run the risk that you're not going to have surgeons that are as properly trained, as properly qualified to conduct surgeries, and then therefore you're going to see the result of an increasing number of deaths. And so it's obviously a pretty logical thesis, but not according to one Veruca Salt. Listen.
I believe that if we lower the standards for what it takes to become a doctor.
You're saying if we lower the standards, but do you believe people are dying because the standards are being lowered?
I don't think that is, yes, an issue, but it could become an issue.
Okay. But the actual evidence in history shows the exact opposite. If you look at how minorities were treated by the medical system, most doctors now are white. And there are lots of mistakes in medicine. So you're saying that white doctors have bad medical care? I'm trying to understand your logic here when it comes to DEI, because there's no actual evidence of what you're saying.
No, I said, so if the standards, like let's say, I think that particular thing was referring to surgeons. Let's say a surgeon is asked to, a surgeon in training is asked to do a series of operations under the supervision of a senior surgeon, and they get a bunch of those operations wrong. If that happens, and yet they are still approved to be a surgeon, the probability that someone will die, I think, at some point is high.
Okay, I understand that, but that's a hypothetical. That doesn't mean it's happening.
I didn't say it's happening.
You didn't say it was happening.
I said it will. I said if we lower standards, people will die.
But why respond to something or put something out there that has not happened? Because I could say
I don't want it to happen. I think we don't want to lower standards.
Okay, if you look at the history of the medical industry, especially when it comes to Black Americans, it shows the exact opposite. If you look at the Tuskegee experiment and all that, only 5% of doctors in America are Black. All of them are white. So are you saying that if the majority of doctors are white, are you saying that and there are still these inequities, right? And there's still mistakes. Are you blaming DEI for that?
No, I'm very basically saying that if we lower standards for what it takes to become a board certified surgeon, or an oncologist or something where the kind of disease we're talking about, if you make a mistake, causes someone to die, then more people will die than if we don't lower the standards. Therefore, we should not lower the standards.
But why do you think they're lowering the standards for minority doctors or women doctors or?
That's what that's what that article suggested. Yes, at Duke University.
Okay.
So you can feel his frustration. Can you not? You can feel it like coming right through the screen. He's kind of had it with this guy, and he's realizing, oh my gosh, did I just hire him? I just hired this idiot. And that's clearly how he sees him. You have only to look at the tweets that he put out after, aside from the group assault business. And he said, look, his approach was basically just CNN. He writes, his approach was basically just CNN, except on social media. And this approach doesn't work. In fact, you have only to look at the fact that CNN itself is dying. And so instead of being the real Don Lemon, it was really just Jeff Zucker talking to Don, so it lacked authenticity. And Jeff Zucker used to run CNN. He used to run Today's Show, and he used to run Katie Couric's talk show. That failed. And I guess he's big buddies with Don Lemon. And so Elon really felt like it wasn't the authentic Don Lemon that was coming through, but instead Jeff Zucker. But maybe the authentic Don Lemon was the Veruca stuff. I mean, again, the guy just asking for the meaning back. Let me just point out the obvious thing. I don't think that he has personal wealth, that his boyfriend has personal wealth. And he is unemployed. He was unceremoniously fired from CNN, although apparently he can go back. I don't know. I mean, they do have a new head of CNN that came from the New York Times, and that person has invited him back on television to describe just exactly what went wrong with that Elon Musk interview. And apparently a whole lot went wrong. I mean, he started asking him about his personal prescription medical use. That was another thing that came up. I mean, the whole thing really just felt more like a gotcha interview as I watched it than anything that was really about having a civilized conversation. Now, granted, Don may see the world, or Jeff may see the world differently than Elon Musk. I think Elon is really about trying to bring in a variety and differences of opinion, but it's also not the gotcha journalism that Don was trying to employ. I mean, that's really, I think, what is something that Elon is trying to fight back against. And hopefully you're having a more elevated conversation there on X where you can, one, sort of distill what's really going on, right? It's very hard in this environment these days. But two, do so in a civilized manner that is beneficial for all parties and is not contentious and is not gotcha. And when you watch that interview, and I'll show you some other excerpts, but when you watch that interview, what you see is CNN style, mainstream media style, legacy media style, gotcha, bogus nonsense, and not a real earnest conversation about the issues that are most pressing for society today. So I'm just saying, you know what? Elon, you dodged a bullet. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, share the video, all that good stuff. I'm going to be back at headquarters tomorrow. Have to leave paradise for a little bit, but thank you for being here, and let's keep the conversation going. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I read them.